Well, good morning, Claire.
Morning, Tim.
Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me this morning. It was a great evening a couple of weeks ago with the Directors Forum, and there were all sorts of questions being asked right into the night about social media.
The long one.
What I wanted to know was, do you think it's important that every business has a social media strategy, or is it, because I know people that still sort of are in denial about it and they just don't want to do it?
I think any business that is going to be using social media must have a strategy. I'm very passionate and strong about that, because without a strategy you have no way of knowing what your objectives and goals are. You have no way of knowing what tools you're going to use and who's going to deliver those. So before you even venture into social media, you really should have that strategy drawn up. It only needs to be simple, an A4 page, but it covers all the key points, and you'll be clearer as a business as to why you're doing it and how you're doing it and what you want to achieve from it.
Do you think that this whole business of social media is going to become increasingly important to business performance, or some people wish it would go away, but would it increase?
I think it is increasing, definitely, and really if you're in business you do need to be looking at it at some level. How much you participate in it will vary on what you do and what you want to achieve from it, but you do need to consider it. It's not going to go away. It's going to continue to change and evolve, and how we use it now and how we use it in 5 years will be very different. And it may not even be called what we call it now, but it isn't. The principles behind it aren't going to go away, I don't believe.
What are your favourite areas, Claire? Because everybody's got something that they like best. What do you like best?
Everyone knows I love LinkedIn.
Right.
I think I'm building up a reputation and a heritage of being quite a LinkedIn geek now. So for business, it's LinkedIn, definitely my favourite. But personally, I spend far too much time on Facebook.
Right.
We're all different, and even if we decide to use something for business, we use Twitter a lot, and I like Twitter, but not as much as some of the other ones. So therefore, I'm actually not the main person who does our tweeting. Right. Because I don't have the passion behind it to drive it.
People I sometimes say to me, I'm running a business, I haven't got time to do all this. I mean, do you have to prioritise time for it?
You do. You have to plan it, and that's why strategy is really important. This is one of the key things we look at and put into that strategy is firstly, what tools are you going to be using, who's going to be using those tools, and who's actually going to give the time to develop that, and then of course the objectives and what you're going to do, that kind of comes later. So you do need to be thinking about where that time's coming from, who's going to give that time to it, and also the other thing we put in is how often you're going to do it. And for each tool that might be different. So we may say, okay, you need to tweet daily, but we may say Facebook every other day or LinkedIn, but it'll vary depending on the business.
Do you think, because blogging and Facebook and Twitter, they're basically free, aren't they? Is there anything that's worth spending money on in social media?
You can look at tools that help you organise things better and make your time more efficient. And some of those plugins have a cost, not a huge amount, it's a small cost. But really what I'd be saying to people where they may need to spend money is really, again, looking at resources. So whether or not they need to employ somebody in the company or whether they need to bring somebody from outside to either just help them get it off the ground or to actually help them deliver it.
It seemed a year or two ago, everybody said you have to be top of the search engine, and it seemed to me that was the main priority. Is that still the case? Or?
It's changing in the sense of social media is impacting on search engines in a couple of different ways. Firstly, it's impacting on web and how people index. So not only will people find your website now, they can also find your social media tools, so it's having an effect from that point of view. Your website being found in the search engines is still important to the majority of companies that we work with. So it hasn't gone, it has just changed, and I think before we used to just really focus on search engine optimization. Now we look at online marketing as a whole.
And another thing that we hear people say is that the way social media is developing, it's going to make websites obsolete. What do you think of that?
Websites are changing with the impact of social media. Before, everything had to be on your website, it had to be interactive. It was the way that you marketed your business, it's the way you interacted with your clients, it's the way you supported your teams. And now we're seeing these other platforms taking some of that, taking that away from the website, but it still plays a part in it, a critical part in that.
What can we look forward to in the social media area?
I know, however I answer this, it's going to change because technology develops and changes daily. With social media, the key thing that's happening at the moment, I think we're going to see a lot more apps and solutions that actually help people to interact quicker. So allow more call to actions on the social media directly. So things like purchasing items straight away, transferring money. I think we're going to see a great deal coming out generally around e-commerce and payment integration.
Okay.
I think there's also a lot of questions over privacy on social media, and there's more development for more niche social media platforms,
Yeah.
and I think there'll be more options for people to be more anonymous as well.
Well, it was a wonderful evening with the group, Claire, and it's great to hear you speaking about your passion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed
Thanks
for
for
talking
having
to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.